Well, welcome back to Racing Back, and I'm delighted we have Dr. Martin Rains with us. We've got a good subject, and he's got a Shakespeare quote to give us, just to make us Jules to sound a bit posher. Perhaps we're Don't forget, he is a doctor, a university man. But we're going to talk about the nearly men who deserved a world title and, in some cases, at least a Grand Prix win. But it didn't come along. Come on, Rainsy, what's the quote you gave us about the subject?
Well, it's a little twist on Shakespeare, isn't it? We've come to praise these riders, not to condemn them. All the riders we talk about will have achieved great things. It's just that they've deserved a little bit more than perhaps what they have achieved.
So that was nearly a Mark Anthony quote, was it?
It was nearly a Mark Anthony.
Is that what we were going for?
Absolutely. He said, what did he say? I've come to bury Caesar, not to praise him, or something like that.
Grave editing that, if you're going to...
Yeah. That's the Yorkshire editing of Shakespeare.
Yeah. Right. We've left the socials a bit awry recently. So as you can see, I've got my phone in front of me. So we'll read some out today. So here we go. You can't saw dust 3 days ago. Why don't you even need to see a British rider in GPs? It's not a championship of countries like the Olympics. It's a world championship of the best riders, which is probably why there is no British riders up there or even competing in there. Ooh, righty-o, there you are.
Hard but fair.
Oh.
Yeah. Fair kite.
Yeah.
Much
£1 million
like United used to be. Allegedly.
Fair kite, £1 million. Well, KN. What does KN mean? Is that a sort of don't know?
I don't know. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think that's social talk, which we're not really.
Wrong age group.
Chocolate starfish one. Why do you cut every guest short? Well, I think we explained that last time. The software we use is not of the highest technical, I won't say ability. It gets us through, but more subscriptions, we will get better software. We don't.
It's time limited, and we use every second we can get. Thanks.
Oh my golly, that's perfect. Perfect, Jules. Absolutely perfect. KRTT 750, not a fan of baggers, Neil. Try and ride one and I bet you'll change your mind. That was Neil Hodgson, wasn't it?
KRTT, well, that's an American speaking, isn't it? Because that's a Harley Davidson.
Oh, it is.
If ever I've seen one.
Yeah. At Chester 72 CCM. Thanks, gents, for a racing fan of a certain age. These are true voices of bike racing. All others since are imposters. Oh, well, that's nice to say. Yeah, Rod Buchanan, brilliant guys. Nobody RS, quality, always liked Hodgie. Total approachable top guy. A better rider than what he gets credited for. Yes. Top commentator on TNT. Long may he continue. John Honda 101. I met Neil a fair few times over the years when I was doing track days. He wasn't sniffy or hard to talk to. So there you go. Lots of praise about Neil. He's a great presenter on TNT. He's just a great all-round guy. Alien, Ian 77, another great episode. As a fellow Lancastrian lad, Neil Hodgson was a favourite, followed from the 90s, along with Foggy and John Mack. Andy Fern.
That's keeping it in county borders.
It is. 3 days ago. Great stuff once again. Sad to hear about Paul Sample. Ogre for forever. And I think you probably knew more about that than anybody, Jules. So
I was a staff man on bike when I was actually on when Ogre finished in Bike Magazine. I remember the storm that went on. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Sample a few times. Lovely man and super talented.
Yeah, and passed away a few weeks ago. Motorman 00, great interviews, thanks to the memories. Death's Daughter RVT, another great one, guys. Can't wait to hear Julian's Eddie Lawson story. There you go.
You can wait, it's not that good.
more Hodgie, please. Great video pod again. This is Nimbus Scamper. Neil was a great rider and is now an excellent commentator. Tells such a good story. I subscribed a little while ago, so hopefully it will help you guys with getting the people in your phone book on the show. It's good to have the names and stories from classic names to modern and all the backstories that keep coming up. Keep up the good work. Another great episode, team. Neil is always a great value. Thanks all. Neil is such a talent and so funny too. Another corker. Thanks very much for another wonderful episode. Hope to see Neil again on the show with you legends. Thank you, gents, bringing the fantastic Mr. Neil Hodgson for the podcast. Love hearing the stories. Sad to hear about the people who have to live their dreams as a motorcycle racer. Whoop, whoop, whoop. What a scoop. Thank you all. Another fantastic episode. Been incredible. Such great storytelling and interview. It feels like friends sitting round a table in a pub having a few pints. Yeah, but trouble is I'm with the two tightest people in Yorkshire and Cheshire. We might be sitting in the pub, but I'll be buying the pints. That's
very true. Very true.
So there we go. So thanks. As Jules and I always say, please keep subscribing. It's so important for us, and we want to improve the software. We want to improve the program. We got so many guests lined up to come on, and we just love doing it. And nobody we like having on more than Dr. Martin Rains. Right. You've done Shakespeare. We've talked about how tight you are. You won't buy a pint. Let's get on to these riders then. Riders who deserve more and winning world titles. On top of my list, it's always Randy Mamola. I always think on the top of your list, Rainsy, it might be Dani Pedrosa.
It might be, but in actual fact, I have got Randy on top of the list. I've just lost my earphones. Yes.
Oh, there you go.
I've got Randy on top of my list. I've got him there, and he is Randy Mamola. And I think because he sort of came through at the time I first started watching the racing. What a great talent he was. And we read about him actually before he arrived, and maybe one of the first of the child riders, really. He never did anything.
Yeah.
He didn't go and get a job and work and save up for his own bike. He came through as a young man. 13 Grand Prix wins, no World Championship.
Was it four times runner-up?
4 times runner-up, twice third, so 6 times in the top 3, but never become a champion. And
he sort of fits what we're looking for in this description, in that he was like maybe the third, maybe the fourth best from his country most of the time. But with any other passport, he would be
absolutely.
I suppose you could say the same in many ways about Kevin McGee. You could say the same about Daryl Beattie if we're sticking with Australians.
Yeah.
Is this where you're going with this, Martin?
I think so. People who deserve more, people who probably in another era might have won championships or races or got on the podium. So they're the sort of people who may be a little bit unlucky due to injury or such like, who are close to either a world championship, close to winning a race, close to a podium, but didn't actually achieve those, even though perhaps in any other era they might have done.
Did he win on 3 separate? Sorry, Jules.
Sorry, I'm looking there with Mike Baldwin's name came to mind.
And we've got a load really. And Randy won on 3 separate machines, didn't he? And the makes, and that is quite rare in the Premier class.
Yeah, Suzuki, Honda, and Yamaha he won. And came second, like over a good period of years, but he was behind top riders, and I think very often it was just a bit of bad luck that he had towards the end of the season that sort of meant that he didn't achieve that ultimate of getting the championship.
Yeah,
great rider though, but he still has one record that nobody that your Marc Marquez and so on have never topped. And that he's the youngest rider to finish on the podium in the Premier class. And that is how good he was. He was just 19 years old when he finished on the podium in the Premier class. And I think we expected at that time, after seeing him, it was only something like his 3rd race and he was on the podium. we perhaps expected him to go on to win multiple championships, but circumstances were such that he didn't.
What about Dani Pedrosa? I would think I'm sorry, I'm guessing what you're going to say. Injuries and being around at the wrong time, winning a Premier Class title.
Absolutely. Is Dani Pedrosa nearly man? He won 3 World Championships, but but in the Premier Class, he won 20 to 31 races, and I'm just looking at
31 races and no
31.
title. Wow.
Yeah. 112 podiums.
Oh,
no title.
Against,
and that was it. He was against Rossi, Lorenzo, Stoner, Marquez. And that's it. I think in almost any other era, he would have been a multi-world champion. He finished second 3 times. He finished third 3 times. So close, but not quite achieving that. What? And he was delicate, wasn't he? When he crashed, he used to hurt himself.
The great. What year was it? He crashed in Motegi. And the throttles jammed open, and I think round at turn 3 hit the wall. And as you say, Martin, collarbone or whatever was it. Multiple pieces. But he was on a run. I don't know if he was actually leading the championship, but it was a run of Honda tracks coming up to finish the season. And every bookmaker in the world had him as a very short price favourite for the title. And to me, that was the one where he was going to get his just desserts. And the fickle finger of fate.
But like 2011, I think it was Le Mans, where he had the incident with Simoncelli. He missed 3 or 4 races that season, and then even in Marc Marquez's first championship year, 2013, he was very much low. Him and Dani were fighting for the title, and then can you remember the incident at Aragon?
Very much so, yeah.
Oh yes, when a sensor cable was cut.
Yeah, Mark overtook him and in his usual Mark way didn't give him much room, and the sensor was ripped off, and at the next corner, Dani crashed. So it was bad luck. He did it. Won a lot of races and so on, but never put that one championship run together over a year that was required.
It was almost fate, wasn't it? Which is a word perhaps we shouldn't use, but right. Somebody else who won a good few world titles, but never the Premier Class, Max Biaggi, and we tend to miss him out a bit. I do, out of my mind when I think like this, but came mighty close, and he should have won at least one, surely.
That's an interesting shout, because when you mention the name Max Biaggi, I think of one of the greatest 250 riders I've ever seen. My mind does not go to 500 stroke MotoGP. It goes to, my God, what a 250 rider. But it's a good point, because
again, like he arrived with a bang, didn't he?
Yes,
the last rider to win on his debut in the top class.
Suzuka, was it?
Japan 98. And again, perhaps we thought, well, is he going to be the man who challenges Doohan at that time? 13 Grand Prix wins, no World Championship in the Premier Class. And he came second, 3 times, third 3 times. He was so close. And I was just looking before, I think he did something like 8 seasons in the Premier Class and never finished less than 5th or something. He was there every year competing near the front.
And when you got to Brno, he was almost unbeatable.
That is very true. Yeah.
We mentioned Daryl Beattie, and Range and I were talking earlier in the week, and I saw Daryl win on the Honda, then he started winning on the Suzuki, but he was actually leading the World Championship, wasn't he, when he was riding the Suzuki?
Was it?
He was. I think didn't early season Doohan crashed at Suzuka somewhere. And Daryl took the lead. He had a couple of wins on that Suzuki that year and pressed Doohan really hard. I think Doohan crashed because Daryl was really good. And with the best will in the world, I'm not sure the Suzuki was quite up to the level of the Honda at that time. But he did really well on that Suzuki. But he he had a big crash, didn't he? I think, Nick.
Was it the Le Mans crash where he lost all the toes on one of his feet? Yeah, because it got caught in the chain. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very underrated and not thought of in this sort of context, and that's probably wrong, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I would say so. I mean, Christian Sarron could go into this category. I know he won a 250 world title and he won a Grand Prix.
He did Hockenheim, wasn't it? Yeah.
In the rain. But he was the first European to remind if it was possible to beat the Americans and the Aussies.
Yeah.
In a long time. He probably... maybe his status is what he deserves, an absolutely top rank rider, as combative as you like, but couldn't adapt to the riding style required. He was a classic big wide line Super 250 man. He'd have been dynamite on an 800 Motor Grand Prix bike.
He would. Yeah. And it's interesting that, Julian, you say that he couldn't adapt the riding style. I think because the sport was dominated by the Americans, the tyres and the machinery were built around the Americans who were winning.
And their style.
So he had to get on a bike that was adapted for the riding style of the Americans and win it using the sort of European style of more, as you say, classic 250 style.
Yeah.
And that made it tough for him because he was trying to beat the ones who were perfectly suited to those machines, where he perhaps wasn't.
Yeah, whereas as Dennis Noyes would point out if he was here, Crivier was like that.
Yes.
Until he had a winter at Kenny Roberts' ranch in Barcelona and learned to slide it. And the first test session, all the Americans were going, "What the hell's happened to Crivier? You know, he looks like a dirt tracker."
Yeah.
And you know, he adapted with an intensive winter's testing of dirt tracking. And Alex Crivier was, I suppose, the guy who could have been consigned to the category we're talking about, but saw what he needed to do, did it, and finally won it. I remember coming out of a restaurant in Philippine and bumping into Scott Doohan. In the year 2000. Quite a tough guy, Scott Doohan, and he's got an imposing presence. And he told me that Crivier, and it's the first time I'd ever heard the Aussie phrase, he did the hard yards. He deserved it.
Yeah.
I thought, well, that's fair play, Scott. You know, that was Alex Crivier I shouldn't be talking about him. He's not really part of this conversation.
But wasn't Kevin Swans very close to being part of this conversation? You know, in spite of all his ability and riding talent, he was
just that one title.
One title, yes.
Yeah, we're back to the nature of champions, aren't we? I was always told by the people who look deeper than me into these things that there were two types of competitor. There is the bloke the Wayne Rainey, who wins, and it's a monkey off his back, but it's not satisfying, so he's got to do it again and again. And again. And then there is the person we were talking at the time was Scott Russell. Who did it once, World Superbike I'm talking about now. That'll do, where's the bar? You know. And in many ways, you classify somebody like Wayne Gardner, who maybe didn't have as much natural talent as the people he was racing against. But my God, he had the grit and determination to do whatever it took.
To win the title.
Perhaps you could only do that once. You know, perhaps. Set Gibernau. The only man really to push Rossi on a 990cc Moto Grand Prix bike, and then nothing. My diagnosis of that, given what we've just said, was that he spent 2 years pulling his tripe out trying to beat Valentino, and that was all. That's it. He had that number of races at that level in him, and that's it, boys. Done. Cooked.
Yeah. But very interesting, Jules. I think it's right. The tank is empty after pressing themselves so much for that
hard.
period of time. Yeah.
Kenny Roberts always said, that from the time you start competing at the top level, I think he meant start looking at a world championship, you've probably got 10 years in the tank, maximum.
Yeah. I'm pretty certain that is right. And just back to injuries, there's always somebody I think of. Again, I think that probably gets not spoken about. Pat Hennen, first American to win a 500cc Grand Prix. He won in Amatra, didn't he? He won the British Grand Prix at Silverstone and looked like he was really going to push on towards really challenging for a title. And then the crash on the Isle of Man.
I couldn't agree more. Turned up in the UK, Barry Sheen's teammate. How to be unpopular with the crowd, chapter 1, line 1, and was stupendously fast.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. When he had that crash, I think he was leading the World Championship, and
I think so.
And looked like the man who could take it that year because I think Barry Sheen was having some difficulties. Kenny Roberts was in his first season. So as the season went on, I'm sure Pat Hennen would have got stronger that year.
That's why he went to the TT, wasn't it? Because he was leading the World Championship. Was it still a championship points then?
I don't think it was.
No, it probably wasn't. No, it probably wasn't. No.
I think it was just an ambition of his, wasn't it, to win a TT?
That's right.
It was many people.
It was... Oh dear, I don't want to get this wrong. It was tied up with his deal with Suzuki in the UK and the mechanics and the van and all sorts of and money, of course.
Money,
So I think there was a variety of pressures, but I haven't got chapter and verse on that. I think there are several variants on that story.
Yeah.
Right, let's come on to all classes then. I sound like, you can tell I've been talking to Rainsy all week. I sound like an expert here. Complete and utter nonsense. But there is one rider who won 20 Grand Prix and no World Championship. I won't ask you who it is, Jules, because I didn't get it. You can have one go in all classes. Yeah, he won 20 Grand Prix and didn't win a world title.
So I'd say something like Knoibühler would be the.
It's not him, but I reckon that's a pretty good guess.
That's a good shout,
better than some of my guesses. Come on, Rainsy, spill the beans.
Ralph Waldmann.
Really?
Yeah. 20 Grand Prix wins. And he came second in both the 250 championship, came second in the 125 championship. I think 1 year he came just 2 points behind Max Biaggi in the championship.
You could ride a 250 then, couldn't you? If you could keep Max that close.
Absolutely. So 20 Grand Prix across all classes without winning the championship, and I think you could say he's the most successful in terms of Grand Prix wins without getting the championship.
Yeah, I can't think of any more.
And why was it, Nick, that he didn't perhaps
because he was a bit I said because he was a bit bonkers. What a super guy, but completely crazy, but such good fun. You never knew what was coming next, did you? Yeah.
And always loud. He'd obviously not heard of earplugs early in his career. you always knew when Ralph was around.
You would. Nobby Ueda won 13 Grand Prix. Rainsy, I think everybody would have loved him to win a world championship, don't you? What a great guy.
Yeah.
What a really nice guy, wasn't he? Really good guy. And of course, when he started, he still has a unique achievement of being the last rider to win on his Grand Prix debut.
As a wild card at Suzuki, yes.
Absolutely, Jules. He did. I don't think he was going to do the season, but he got that wild card, didn't he, at Suzuka? Won.
He went down to Australia on a wild card as well the next weekend or whatever. On the strength of having won in Japan.
Yeah.
And he was up against the Dirk Rowdies, the Kazuto Sakatas.
Valentino Rossi, of course.
Still had been around.
So he was up against some, again, great riders, but 13 World Championship wins, and in the one class, no World Championship. Yeah.
Amazing. And the closest to a world title, but never took it. I think We look back to Phillip Island. Was it the year 2000?
Yeah.
Olivier Jacque and Shinya Nakano. I mean, he obviously won 250 Grand Prix. Did he ever win a MotoGP Grand Prix?
Shinya, no.
He must have finished on the podium, I think, Rainsy, didn't he?
Probably? Yeah, he finished on the podium, but didn't take a win in the top class. But is he? Could we say that? I think we can say that he's the closest to being a world champion.
Yeah,
but never actually won a world championship.
Yes. What was it? Far from being
absolutely.
One bend away, wasn't it? From winning.
And if the finish line had been a few yards further that way, we'd now be talking about Olivier Jacque in this conversation, wouldn't we?
Yeah, we would. Yeah.
It was that close. It was
Olivier
either one
Jacque,
or the other.
Who fitted the cylinders with a bit more top end. Shinya, who fitted the cylinders with a bit more mid range.
Yeah.
Olivier just sat there, cool as you like, and did him. And I always remember the press conference.
How could you wait that long?
I know. Valentino Rossi saying, if I am Shinya Nakano, I shoot myself.
Somebody else who didn't win a world title there, you'd start to find people out, and I thought did Greg Hansford. What a rider. And I thought he must have won a 250 or 350 world title, but he didn't, did he?
Too much aggo going on.
But he was up against Cork Ballington as his teammate.
I was just thinking Bang and Ballington would have been in his way, wouldn't they?
He was. But I think Greg Hansford really only did 2 full seasons in Europe, and as Cork Ballington's teammate, and I think he finished second to him twice and third twice or something. Those. So in his 4 championships, he was racing 2 championships each year. And he had 2 seconds, 2 thirds, but didn't take the title, but came mightily close. And I mean, Cork Ballington had been around a few years then, and
he had.
Was a winner, knew the circuits, knew
the Kawasaki better than anybody, didn't he?
So Greg Hansford had a tough time and pushed Cork Ballington very, very close. Yeah. I think he was somewhat more of a bulkier guy than Cork as well, and I think that was a little bit different for him.
10 minutes, gents, 10 minutes.
Right. Oh, wow. Just come on to modern times very quickly because we want to get on to some of the people who didn't win Grand Prix. Alex Rins, world class, not a world champion. I mean, he must find himself incredibly. And Miguel Oliveira, again, another man who pushed and has won Grand Prix in all the classes. Well, Moto 3, was it 125 or Moto 3 then, and of course in MotoGP. And what about the Japanese rider Rainsy, who was leading the World Championship, looked like he was going to win the 125C World Championship, then he hit the deer in the Czech Republic at Brno.
Yeah, Mr. Azuma, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he was walking away with that championship. And they scored a point after hitting that deer. It was a strange one, wasn't he? He was going down the back straight. There's a little hump. He couldn't see the deer. He went over the hump and hit the deer. And he won 5 races that year, early on in the season before we got to Brno. And the person who won the championship, how many races did he win that season? None. Yeah. Because it was Alzamora. So it seems tough on Azuma that he won the 5 races, didn't take the championship. Alzamora didn't win a race that year. But
although Azuma went on to win next season, of course, just to...
but he didn't take the title, did he, Jules?
No, but he won races the next
season. He won races. Absolutely.
I think he won the first one, actually.
He did, absolutely. So, Alzamora did win races in other seasons, yes, definitely, yeah.
Right, Grand Prix non-winners, and there's one that always comes top of the list because we were there, Assen, last bend, everything ready for celebrations. Colin Edwards. I don't think it's it's certainly an afternoon he won't forget. I think it's an afternoon probably we will not forget. Is one big chance.
Absolutely epic race with Nicky, and one small mistake is all it takes, and that's what happened. But and also Colin, in many ways, this is sound dramatic, sort of sacrificed his chances because he knew what he was. He was Valentino Rossi's trier out.
Yeah.
You know, and his job was maybe to race the parts first and hand them on. He was almost not a test rider, but halfway between, you know, the full-on factory racer and a test rider in terms of his duties. I always thought, Colin was not daft, despite what you might expect, and
quite the opposite.
Yes, and he understood what he'd been hired to do.
Yeah. But he deserved a Grand Prix win.
But he deserved a win, didn't he?
Definitely, yeah.
12 podium finishes for Colin Edwards, but no win.
Right,
and
no
five times finishing second in the MotoGP races without a win. And that's tough, really.
Yeah. And he was he was always the king of the Monday test, wasn't he? He was,
he was.
So dispiriting.
Yeah.
Graham Crosby going right back. Golly, I mean, he won Daytona, he won TT races, he replaced, he was replaced by Randy Mamola in the Suzuki team, but I can't believe he didn't win a Grand Prix. Rode for the Agostini Yamaha team, but didn't win a Grand Prix.
Yeah, he had 10 podium finishes as well in the 500cc class. I think, and he came second in the championship one year, but never got that Grand Prix win.
Did Ferrari win any since we're back in that era?
Oh my
God!
He did.
I think he won 2, didn't he, Virginio Ferrari?
Yeah. Not at the same level, but another great ride.
Was
in the shadow. On the grounds, Mr. Harris, that we've just about got 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
And I'm thoroughly enjoying this little trot through history. And we could go back to, the Gary Hockings of this world and others if we wanted to. But I think we should just reiterate who, after all that, we think is the best rider never had to been a world champion. And
in the Premier class?
I think it's in the Premier class, certainly.
Yeah.
And despite your very eloquent cases for Mamola, I'm sticking with Dani Pedrosa.
Right. Rainsy?
In the Premier class? Are we talking Premier class?
Yeah.
Well, I can only go for one, and that's Sarron.
Oh, but there
yes.
Of course.
Okay, we'll allow that.
I think that we can. Wow, you've thrown that right into the ring at the last minute, and of course,
indeed.
Can I say Sarron was a particular case? I agree with that. I would say Dani Pedrosa, who had a long career in the Premier class, but didn't win a title. So Dani Pedrosa would be mine in that case. Yes.
I go for Randy because he won on 3 different makes of machinery. Finished runner-up 4 times. Led. It was all part of that revolution at the time. It was a very exciting time to be about round Grand Prix racing, on and off the track, to be honest with you. And he was part of it all, and he deserved a world title. I think Randy did.
I think part of the reason I'm saying Dani Pedrosa is I was there. For most of his career, and I saw him, and I saw what he went through, and I saw you being there alters your, focuses you.
I think so.
Rather than just looking in a book or whatever.
Yeah. What about all classes? Who do we think is the best rider who didn't win a world championship across all classes?
All classes.
So I was going to say Max, but he won, of course, in 2.
He did.
He did. Yeah.
Somebody who never got a world title.
I think I would go for somebody we spoke about is Greg Hansford. Personally, I think
that is a call that is pretty hard to argue with. I'd say.
I would think that's pretty strong.
The Brit in me wants to say Ron Haslam.
Well, he was a very nearly man because he nearly won the races, didn't he?
But he never won a Grand Prix. Neil Mackenzie didn't, and
exactly. There's a bunch of those guys who we'd have loved to have won a race.
Oh my golly! What about podiums then? Quick, very very quick. People who didn't go on have never had a Premier class podium.
Rob McElnay's the one.
Rob Mack is the one. That's the one. Rob Mack.
What a super rider.
A French friend of mine always made the case for Christian Leard, who was a bit of a midfield man and rode the L for some oddities. But he was like regarded as the French Mike Baldwin alongside the Sarron brothers and others. You know, that one's always stuck with me as you know, a name that never gets mentioned. So I'm mentioning him.
Yeah.
Good for you. What about another Frenchman, Rainsy? Really quickly, he had pole positions in the 250 and 500cc class, but never finished on the podium.
Right. Can we get this? It is Jean-Michel Bayle. And we shouldn't really be calling him a nearly man.
Oh, no. One of the greatest ever off-road riders in the world.
He's the greatest all-round motorcyclist we've ever seen.
Yeah, that's right. We've been a bit unfair to him.
Unfair. But if we're bunching everybody else with him, like, it raises the status of this nearly man if we put Jean-Michel Bayle in there. But yes, he got a pole in 250, got a pole in the 500cc, but never got on the podium in either class.
I think that, Martin, is a really decent place to pause. Nick, you have exactly 1 minute. Let's not disappoint the punters and break the barrier again.
Apologies when we've been breaking up. Once again, Rainsy, many thanks. And we've got plenty of other things to discuss, which we are going to do. We got lots of guests coming on, I can promise you that. Please keep those subscriptions coming in, because it really helps us, and it means that we can finish the program properly, which we're desperately trying to do today, as you can tell, because I'm rushing rather than cutting people off. Once again, many thanks, Rainsy. We'll see you again very soon.
Thanks for inviting me on. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Jules, see you next week.